Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting number 104, May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Man, that's really hard to say. I didn't expect that. Today we have some exciting news, hinted about it on Twitter, led with it with Twitter. We'll do the agenda. We'll talk about it because today is May 4th, and that's an exciting holiday that we're going to talk about what we do when we do on holidays. Then we'll do the WiX 3.10.3 update because, well, we're not done with it. Then we'll do the triage and pull requests, and then we'll do any questions, comments at the end. As always, these meetings are recorded for those people that were unable to be with us right here, right now. So let's get into it. Big news of the day, which some of you have seen coming, some of you haven't, but today on May 4th, we will be joining the .NET Foundation. That means we're going to be leaving the outer curve and becoming one of the many active projects in the .NET Foundation. Before anybody gets excited, I'll go through the things that changes. What changes? Our copyright headers will change on all of the files. Bob's doing all that work. Our signature subject identifier will change. I've done most of that work. We'll get that built out today. And then the big one is our assignment process will be simplified. We've been having some hiccups with that lately, and given what we've seen with .NET Foundation and their automated process, all of that will be automated now, which we're very excited to have.
Well, hopefully that means not only simplified, but working.
Yes. Everything else stays the same. I guess I should mention that the logo down here will change. In fact, I was trying to get the slide to change to the .NET Foundation logo on this slide, but it's on the master slide, and that was hard to work out, and I just decided this would work out. So today, May 4th being a pseudo-holiday of the world, we thought we'd do a release and say that we're joining the .NET Foundation. So, yay! Changing the process in the back. But on the front end, nothing else changes. So, that's the big news of the day. You'll see the rest of it kind of rippling out through our website, our builds, and our Twitter account. For the rest of the day, we're going to do that after this meeting. If there are any questions, comments, we can talk about those. But really, I don't expect this to be a change. I'll have a blog entry that kind of talks about why we're doing this now and things like that. But we have plenty of other stuff to cover in the meeting, so I want to keep rolling along. 3.10.3. So the GDI Plus thing, like I said, was starting to become less and less responsive. So finally, over the weekend and then the last few nights, I've developed an alternative solution. The pull request is out as 351. Anyone want to guess what pull request we're going to review today? Yeah, I thought so. So we'll walk through that code today. Sean did a nice job of pointing out probably a flaw in the first one, that first go around, that I think is good now in this pull request. So we'll talk about that. There's a pull request actually, I called it an issue, but I think it's actually a pull request in 349 that needs investigation. It's subtle enough that I've been focused on getting the other thing working, that I don't exactly know if it's right or wrong or whatever, and I don't know that Sean's had a chance to look at it, but we need to look at that before we finally ship 3.10.3. So we're not shipping it today, but I think we'll get a pull. If we like 351, we'll do the build. And then we'll be able to kind of kick this new attempt around a little bit and see if it really does solve the GDI failure with WinForms and all that kind of good stuff. And then we'll make a decision on 349, and then I think we'll be in the final landing for 3.10.3. So next week, I hope we're talking about when do we want to ship 3.10.3, given the build out with all the fixes and good things like that. Because I really want to stop talking about 3.10.3. I really want to stop talking about 3.10 in general. But that's the goal with that. It'll be good to finally have this all fixed and behind us. I say that knocking on my glass tabletop. That is not wood. All right. I always feel like I hit this slide and I run out of energy. To the web. Bob, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Looks like we have our typical sort of. Except I didn't do this correct. I had this set correctly before I rebooted. No label. Typical number of bugs, 12 or so. 2 are already closed. This seems about right, given what we've been doing. A feature request at the bottom. Want to be able to do all of these things with service config. Okay. And I assume, Bob, that's a link to the documentation of what this is?
Yeah, I think it's the actual function we'd have to call.
All right. So are we taking features in 3? If we are, this can go probably in 3x. Otherwise, I say we put it in 4x.
Yeah, no, this is a nice thing, but we're not taking new features.
Yep.
Yep.
Time to move forward into 4. This one. Merge modules can create invalid WiX PDBs. This was a fun one to find. I actually opened this book, which I don't do very often. The WiX merge table is created. The definition does not allow for nulls, but the compiler is putting nulls in some places, which is not the right thing. Fortunately, the linker doesn't care, doesn't seem to validate that particular thing, so anyway, this is a bug. I don't know where to take it. We could take it. It's a small bug fix that will make WiX PDBs more correct, or we could take the fix in 4.
Do you have a sense for the size of the fix?
It's going to go into the tables XML and mark 2 fields null,
right?
Nullable, and that the compiler thinks should be, or fix the compiler to never put null in them. But I think that's probably bigger, since it's happy with null today.
Right. Yeah, I'm fine with this in 3x.
All right, toss it 311. I'll probably take it. Be one of my last.
Probably.
311. I'll take it. 311.
Okay.
So I've done enough research. I can finish it off. Directory search in registry search. It works well for entries, but not for this one. All right, so there's something in Windows installer app search behavior not working well for this one.
That's my guess. There's nothing to indicate how the value is different. But obviously this isn't a WiX thing.
So do we resolve it as external, as the MSI? Unless he can point to the MSI, can he get the MSI to do something that WiX doesn't allow him to do? All right, basically by using Orca to hack the search table. That's where we're at.
It just seemed. I guess I'm not. I'm kind of used to using the raw entry. I don't know if directory. It could be as simple as as the directory, as the value in the registry not having a trailing backslash. And maybe MSI requires that as part of app search. I don't know.
I don't either.
But
well, if we're not fixing it, I don't really want to keep this bug around.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, we should close it. It's external.
Okay, cool.
So.
And by all means, I think we should add a comment that says, and if you can get an MSI that correctly does this and WiX does not allow you, then that definitely is a WiX bug.
Okay, sure.
Referencing a payload group in a BA and a package results in burn failing to initialize. Oh. That's not good. Different place in the manifest XML. Well, we should catch this somewhere. And it is referenced in the BA, but out here. Oh, that's really weird. So the fact that it's does that mean the BA group is not being added as a BA payload? No.
It's only adding it in one place.
Oh, because it's not picking up the sharedness of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that doesn't work. Probably should. Something we'd fix in 3. That's going to be my question of du jour now.
Yes. Again, this comes down to, I think, the size of the fix and the rarity. I can see it being somewhat common, like an ini file or some kind of a pseudo response file type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see it coming up. Is this off the top of your head, Rob? Do you know if the payloads for BAs are special for a reason? Because everywhere else there's like a payload and a payload ref, right? Like for packages, I think that's how it works.
Yeah, these are the BA payloads are optimized for being pulled out of the bundle early or whatever.
Okay.
That's the idea anyway.
Oh, because technically you would only have to parse the UX element.
That's right. I mean, it's doing just that anyway. It parses the whole manifest in the end anyway, but I mean that's the idea of it.
Well, I guess I'm okay with it going into 3x with the caveat that if it's a big fix, it might have to go into 4.
Okay, I think that's fine. NetFX prereq does not show all translated text. Oh, that's unfortunate. So we need better loc files.
Yep.
Cool. So I don't know what we do with this until someone provides better loc for those things that we don't know how to loc.
Well, we could fix it by making the button an appropriate size.
Oh, is it just the button?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. I see. Yes. All right. Cool. So 3x and someone could fix it?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. The WiX IS version number 10. Yada, yada, yada. Right. So this is the, hey, IS has now switched to version 10, which means the string comparisons are no longer going to work that used to work for 7, 8, 9, so on and so forth. Because 10 is smaller than 8 when doing string comparisons of numbers.
Unfortunately, that's all MSI has.
And that's all MSI has. So he closed it, and yeah, so this comes back to the, we need to write the custom actions that replace app search to do a better job of doing that. And I don't know when we're going to do that. It's basically bring the WiX searches to MSI.
Burn?
Sorry, the burn searches to MSI.
Yep.
It's all in WiX.
Yeah, right. And we've been talking about it for years. It would be cool because the burn searches have some nice functionality.
Yes, they do. And if they don't, we can fix it. So anyway,
right.
So I think we can resolve that as external, and it already has the comment in it about, someone just needs to do the work for whatever other feature that was to bring the custom actions in.
Yep.
Oh, here it is. This must be the bug. Layout to custom directory doesn't copy bundle payload. When letting burn layout to a directory other than the default, the bundle is copied from the clean room and any payload is missing. I thought we had this bug fixed. So, no? Did I hear a...
No.
No. All right.
It doesn't copy the attached container is basically the problem.
Because it's grabbing the clean room.
Well, that's bad. So this definitely needs to go in 3.10.3. Right? I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
okay.
if the scenario... so the scenario is you have a compressed bundle, but say you have...
.NET Framework external.
.NET Framework as an external downloadable package. Then, that's pretty busted.
Well, layout needs to work in 3.10.3, so this is bad that this doesn't work and we need to fix it. So I'm curious if the PR that I referenced earlier, which must go to this bug, which we should probably tie them together, actually does fix this finally. So that would be good as well. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
So let's drop this in 3.10.3 and it needs to get solved. All right. Shortcuts x64 version. One last one is not created. I see. Right.
Now, shortcuts on Windows 8 and above, I'm pretty sure that's magic.
Now I see that the problem is in order of refreshing after adding the shortcut. I was evolving during my research of the problem. So during his research of the problem, he chose to open a bug against us for things that we don't control. So, all right. I think we can resolve this as external.
Agreed.
Install the SDK files also if only Visual Studio tools are installed.
Yeah, this is the C++ team released the C++ only SKU.
Oh, yes.
Only took a few decades. And of course, it would be nice if the native SDK was installed on the same build machine.
Cool. So, 3x or 4?
It's a trivial fix. I might have already done it, so I'm fine with 3x for this.
All right. Or 311 at that point?
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll assign myself to it even.
Hello. Hi. I am using this. I am getting an error when adding URF to that. This is a support thing, right? Oh, it's not a valid character.
There's
a 4.0 bug or something.
It's a 4.0 bug, and there's like half a dozen bugs related to this.
Cool.
What I'm assuming is an underlying problem.
Yep, totally. Cool. Let's send it my way in 4.0 and we'll mop it up.
Okay.
Heat fails without MS Build 12. Oh, yes, this is yes. If we use a tools version, right, for harvesting. So if you have a project reference, it will respect the tools versions that is on that other project. So the question is, should heat continue to follow those things? Or more importantly, are we going to change this behavior in 3?
Well, the only alternative would, I think, be to say, start with the highest version of MS Build tools we have installed and try to process the project.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And then step down to the next lowest. That seems. I understand the complaint. The complaint is, Visual Studio will happily use, the tools that you specify, but that's part of the problem. You're invoking MS Build 14.
Yeah.
Whereas,
this has to turn around and invoke another MS
project.
Build.
Yeah.
It's a weakness of harvesting projects too. So.
Yeah.
Plus, we can only load one Microsoft Build DLL, right? I'm not sure if we'd be able to keep on trying.
Well, is it out of proc? Oh no, it's in proc?
It's in proc.
Oh. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, it sounds like there's all kinds of things why this doesn't work differently.
And arguably, this is what it's doing today is the right thing. We are trying to follow what the project says.
And what does this say? And this is closed. Yeah, this is how it works, right? This is what Sean says. So we closed it before.
Yeah.
So we're going to close it again, or are we going to essentially reopen 4853?
I don't see that we end up in a good state if we're trying. And if we can't load more than one, or if we can't unload it and load the next one, then I don't think there's anything we could do anyway.
Yeah. And John's got an interesting point that, if you specify a tools version from the command line, you can override the whole world of it.
No?
Which, if true, kind of makes sense. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we're closing it in the same way we closed the other one. All right. Burn should use the UI localization instead of formatting language. And we already have this fixed. No? Mostly a dupe?
No.
Mostly a dupe.
It's mostly a dupe. It's not an entire dupe. The proposal here for different variables is interesting and new.
Do we want... Oh, I see. So we want more variables, basically.
I can see the value in having.
All right. So would we take it in 3, or is it a feature and we put it in 4?
There's already a pull request from Blair to add it. Obviously the problem in 3 is that we have existing behavior. We don't want to change it. Arguably, the new stuff is more correct, and I'm happy with that. But Blair did the work to let you specify it, and so I'm good with that in 3.11.
All right. So we're taking that. Is that but you said that's not going to resolve this issue fully.
Well, it doesn't, the variables. If we want the variables as well, then, I don't want to lose that fact from this bug. But Blair's pull request is already against 4499, so I didn't want to, close 4499 as a dupe of this.
Right. Right. I guess I'm asking, do we want to take this for the new variables in 3 or in 4? Because this is basically going to turn into the remainder of adding these variables.
No. I'd like to take it in 3 if someone wants to do the work, just because we have an existing variable. So once Blair's change comes in, it's a little weird that we don't have both variables available.
All right, so you want to keep this in 3x?
Yes, that's where I'm going.
Okay. Because precedent was set. Ah, yes, the bug that I thought was a support question that I was obviously wrong about. So the prereq does not support no restart is basically what this comes down to, right?
Well, the prereq BA doesn't support, prereq mode of WiX Standard BA doesn't support the prereq coming back with a forced restart.
Yeah, the NBA prereq didn't have a success page, so there's really no way to tell the user that I'm going to stop because you told me I can't restart, and you need to restart if you want to continue installing.
Well, if you do it in full mode today and it requires a restart, oh, this is the bug. It fails because it gets into this loop, right?
Right.
So no restart. I mean, it doesn't. Sorry, I'm trying. What's the behavior difference with /no restart?
It thinks that everything was successfully installed.
Then it tries to load the managed BA and fails.
Right, so it keeps on trying to reload over and over.
I'm really surprised this hasn't come up before.
I am too.
I mean, you would have had to do /no restart in full display mode.
Oh, well, wait. Well, then what happens if there's no if there's no restart?
Then the BA will automatically trigger the restart.
Oh, with no prompting?
There might be a prompt, but
Well,
I've never run into that.
Yeah, I haven't either. I'm curious. When I look through it, I'm like, it looks like it's always going to try to load the BA because we map forced restart as a 0 success and a separate restart required flag or restart initiated flag. So it wasn't clear to. It's like it has to prompt via the success page, right?
I saw some code in there for just a plain old message box.
Oh.
Probably with the Windows error message, so it gets localized.
Yeah, we luck out that way a couple of times. Oh, by saying restart required. Oh.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I think the default would not prompt the user. So I think you still have to put in, prompt restart or whatever it is in order to see that prompt.
Well, prompt restart is actually really, really weird because I think it mostly doesn't do anything. The prompt restart switch mostly comes from .NET, and the old .NET, or the chainer that .NET and Visual Studio used to use for patches and .NET still uses. Prompt restart for them is actually a switch that only has an effect when you're in passive mode, maybe silent, I'm not sure. Anyway, sorry, off topic. it would be really weird if we didn't prompt somehow. Messagebox would do it.
So with no restart, are we supposed to not show the final dialog that says a restart is necessary?
Well, that's the weird. I mean, in full UI, I would expect those switches basically don't do anything.
Right. It should still, in no restart, it probably should just still say, hey, a restart's needed. I didn't take it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
right.
but not take it. That's what it needs. It needs to say, I need this.
It just changes the default, right?
Yeah.
Normally we say restart now, restart later.
All right. So I think that's the bug. I think the bug is that we're not handling no restart correctly in the prereq BA, right? And it basically needs to say, you need a restart, but I'm not going to take it, so you can hit OK, right? And it will just exit with the appropriate error code and stop trying to load the BA, because clearly it shouldn't try to load the BA.
Yeah, I agree.
And that would get you the right answer in the end. Yeah, plan was to do it.
Yeah, right. Right, and it's complicated by the fact that MSI and the .NET chainer have different behaviors there. There is a bug, an open bug in 3x about this. Because burn does not, if you're in passive mode, /prompt restart does nothing in burn, because the equivalent in MSI also does nothing.
I think burn. Right. All right, so I think that's probably the fix here, is that we need to not loop when you do this, obviously. So it needs to exit with the right exit code, and not have burn do the execution of the restart for us. So it's probably more logic in WiX Standard BA to handle this.
So should we show a message box or have a success page?
I think I would just show the message box, honestly.
I
guess I wouldn't change that behavior.
But we can just change the default button, right? Assuming there's a message box.
Yeah. Assuming
there's a message box today that says, a reboot is required, if we can change the default from, reboot equals yes, the yes button meaning reboot and the no meaning don't reboot, or vice versa, or whatever, then we can keep using a message box.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I think today it's an OK cancel.
Yeah, but we could.
Yeah, of course it is.
So that would change that to yes, no, right?
Or just make cancel default, but whatever.
Well, I mean, OK and cancel in this new message box would do the same thing, right? Whether you click OK or whether you click cancel, it's not going to restart, because you put no restart in the command line.
Yep. So it could just be,
at that point, just OK.
Or cancel, whichever way you want to do it. But yeah.
Close.
Yeah. Maybe it's just OK.
I hate being so positive about a reboot.
Yep. Ignore. You hate the button ignore.
Yeah, right.
You can't get that on the message box, but not by itself anyway. Yeah, I think that's it, right? So we basically have to go, tweak this logic to work correctly, because right now it's busted. And it is kind of surprising that nobody's complained about this before. I guess full UI no restart's a little bit funny.
That's pretty rare.
That's probably what it is.
As long as we have the message box, that's what people are seeing.
All right. 3x, I assume.
Yeah, I think.
Don't think you'd argue that that's a behavior change that would break anybody.
No.
The Atom feed, yeah, the self URL is not quite right because of the way the files get generated. Let's toss this in web and we can fix it at time. It's not dire that we need to fix it, but it'd be nice if we pass validation correctly. All right, I think we're done. So I'm not going to switch to PowerPoint to move us on to the pull request, because I think that's what makes my mouse cursor disappear. It's my theory right now. So I'm going to go straight to pull requests. I'm going to go dig into, hopefully, the second to last at this point, fix for WiX 3.10, the GDI security vulnerability thing. So the fix to this and I published a WIP, which has been put out as well, or I updated the WIP that talks about this. The fix here is essentially to not call set default DLL directories, which is a thing that protects us from everything, all of the DLL hijacking, to not call that in any of the processes that load a BA. So in the past, those processes would have been the clean room and the package cache, and the package cache process when the process launched out of the package cache. With this change, one of the changes that Sean actually proposed, which was a very good idea in the code in the end, was to make the package cache launch a clean room process, even though it technically didn't need to, since it was in a safe folder. So now there will always be a clean room process launched. The difference is that the clean room launched from an untrusted folder will create, its scroll itself away in the temp folder and a clean folder, all that kind of good stuff. And a process launched from the package cache will just launch itself again because it knows it's already in a secure and safe place, saving it the copy and all of the other logic that it gets into when it thinks it's to detect when it's running inside the package cache or not, which is non-trivial enough logic that we don't want to change it. So the net result of that is that now the clean room is the only time a BA will ever be loaded, and therefore we only have to tell, if we're in clean room, to tell whether we should disable the set default DLL directories. So that's the long way around, which is essentially what this paragraph on the screen is attempting to say as well. So the changes are, one, here at the beginning I mentioned that the package cache would now launch a clean room. In the past, when we found that we're going to launch from the package cache, we would go, oh, we're running from the cache and we're on trusted mode, therefore let's just switch ourselves into normal and declare that we're safe. Instead, we're going to stay untrusted, which will cause the clean room process to get created. Oh look, a white space is deleted. I missed that. There's now a new method exposed from the engine library to the stub that the stub can call and say, hey, are you in the clean room? I added this paragraph of comments here at the top that basically says, this code will be called before we know that we're safe, so be careful what you put in here. So the only function call in here is compare string w, and for a while I actually had a scare that I was going to have to re-implement that, but it turns out it's in kernel 32, thank goodness. And of course kernel 32 is loaded at the beginning of time, so I don't have to worry about that. So this function, very small, also has this other big paragraph on top of it, which says, I'm dependent on the behavior of burn elsewhere in this code. In particular, I'm only going to look at the beginning of the command line and look for the clean room switch. And if that's there at the beginning of the clean room, at the beginning of the command line, I'm going to declare that I'm in the clean room. So it's a way of minimizing the code that has to run inside here that has to be running in kernel 32 DLL. Before, that has to depend on only in kernel 32, that has to run before we're trusted. Does anybody understand now why I hate what we have to do because of these Microsoft bugs? these very narrow things that we do. All right, so the next exciting part is that when we are running engine untrusted, this is when we don't know if we're in safe or where we're running from, we have called set default DLL directory in most normal cases, which means that we can call whatever code we need to call. But we need to launch the clean room because we're always going to launch a clean room at that point. So that's what this paragraph is saying essentially here, is that, hey, even if we're running the package cache, we technically would be safe, but let's go create a clean room anyway in that case. So if we're running from the cache, we can just use our current process to create the clean room. If we're not running from the cache, let's go put ourselves in the clean room, and then that's where we will be running from the cache. The other change in here is to make sure that the burn switch command line clean room is always at the front. And they added a comment here to tell you that this must always be in the front so that the engine and clean room function above will operate correctly. Again, more stuff threading the needle to be exactly correct for what we need to do so that we don't allow any bad DLLs to sneak in while we're attempting to do work. The rest of this change was to just use the pointer path instead of the actual path, because it may be one or two. Hey, we have a new function sticking out of engine.h. in the stub, so this is the burn stub itself, nice big paragraph again about why we're doing all of this work. We call engine in cleanroom, which is that small function that has that other paragraph on top of it that talks about, hey, you can only use kernel 32, because notice we haven't called our app initialize code that makes everything safe. So we will then call this new function, if we're in the cleanroom, app initialize unsafe, which we'll go look at. Well, it's just right here, which basically just calls the magical hey, set information, which all processes in Windows are supposed to do, and they don't do for you because, hey, it might break some old apps and things like that. And then that's the only change to app initialize, and then app initialize unsafe. So this is without the full standard safety precautions for an application. So in other words, I was trying to make it clear that you don't really want to use this unless you really want to be unsafe. And in the case of a clean room, we want to be unsafe because the clean room makes us safe from DLL hijacking. And that is the extent of threading the needle to avoid the problem that GDI Plus does not handle loading when in a secure, safe process from DLL hijacking. And I will send a mail to those guys saying, hey, here's all the code we had to write because you guys have a bug. You should fix your bug. And I don't know if they're ever going to bother fix their bug. At this point, even if they did, I'm not sure we would get it on all the platforms we have to support anyway. So I think this is probably the way we have to go in the end, as frustrating as it is. Heath said it looks surprisingly not that much. Yeah, once I sat down and thought about it for a couple weeks in the background and then actually tried to make it work for a bunch of time this weekend instead of doing work that was useful, I did this. And then Sean's review of my first attempt at this actually was really good, to basically declare clean room everywhere, and that actually simplified it a bit more. So this will get the WinForms guys happy, which means all we now need to do hopefully is get the layout stuff working, and then hopefully we're back where we were at the beginning of all of this mess with DLL hijacking. Agreed? Anybody else feel like crying?
Until the next bug, we're clear.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we need to get the layout stuff right, which is why I'm glad that bug came in when it did. I mean, if it's really happening, I'm glad it came in when it did, so we can now look at it, get that right, and then we'll go from there. All right. So triage and the pull request is done. We'll get that pulled in today, and we will get a build out with that in WiX 3.10.3 so that you fine fellows can attempt it again and make sure that it doesn't have any unforeseen side effects that we didn't anticipate. There will be another 3.10.3 build based on the bug that we saw today and the pull request that's floating out there. We're going to go sort all that out with the move to the .NET Foundation. Yay! Hopefully he will be able, the guy that did that fix, we will be able to get him to sign the CLA, or maybe we'll find that it's not necessary. That is another random side effect of the CLA. It actually reviews the code and says, there's not enough lines, we don't need a CLA from you, which actually be kind of nice to have, whatever software the .NET Foundation wrote doing that validation instead of our judgment call. So I'm happy to be out of that judgment call world as well. So I'm going to end on a good note. Today is a good day. We're moving to a place, we're continuing to refine the world of the WiX toolset, making it more stable, more awesome, more better in all the ways that we make it, and the .NET Foundation is going to help us moving forward. I'm actually pretty excited about this move. I think we'll be more where people expect to find us in the .NET Foundation versus Outer Curve. Who knows what net benefits might come from that. People might look at it and go, oh, .NET Foundation, WiX, maybe we should look at that. I don't know that that's going to be true, but it could happen. When will the assignment workflow be updated? Our goal is to get off this call, off this meeting, and then go make all this happen before lunch here. So hopefully all the buttons are pushed and everything is turned on in the next, 2-3 hours kinds of thing. If not, then it's purely a matter of time to get the buttons all pushed and we hit something. So same workflow. So the workflow will be It will be the same for any .NET Foundation work that you've done. It will be different from what the WiX toolset did, but you will need a GitHub account either way. And it's actually very straightforward. The bot comes up and says, "Hey, you need to sign the CLA, and we've noticed you haven't. Click here, go through this link," and it just walks you through all the steps from there, automated. You don't have to deal with back and forth and people and stuff like that. So this is the last time you'll see the Outer Curve logo on this presentation. Next time I will have the new master slide with the .NET Foundation. We will be a member of the .NET Foundation. FireGiant will still be doing all the work we do to support the edges of the WiX toolset and all those kinds of good things. So we're all in good hands on all those things. Anything else anybody else wants to talk about? Stuff that they're thinking about. I think this is a good move. Hey, look, for even starting 10 minutes late due to technical difficulties, we're still going to end within the hour. I think these other week meetings are working out. People agree? Yay, nay? Yeah? All good, yeah. It's good to see all of you make it. Also on a slightly off day, we pushed it one day because we wanted to make Star Wars Day, and also it turned out better because my kid had pneumonia, and I was off the last 2 days dealing with that. So, all right. Well, sounds like everything's going well. You'll see the excitement roll out about .NET Foundation and rolling out today. And until next week, you guys have a good one. May the Force be with you.
Bye.
Bob can't even finish that. Later.